Hey everyone, it's Zach Wright with IMEO Company. I'm coming at you with this video to specifically talk about vision, more specifically company vision. Now, you've probably heard of company visions or vision statements, and you probably rolled your eyes when I said that, which is completely understandable. A lot of the companies that we work for don't do it the right way, right? And that's the point of this vision video that I'm creating today, is to hopefully provide anybody who is a business owner or a leader or a CEO of a company asking themselves, how can I create a vision that actually inspires and motivates my employees to work better, to be more engaged and have more meaningfulness in their positions and be excited to come to work every day. Now, what I'm going to be talking about is first defining the vision, not the vision, but the definition of a vision for a company. Then I'm going to be going into why we think it's important and a little bit of the reasons that we've felt this way whenever we might have rolled our eyes whenever I first mentioned it. So the actual definition of a vision or a company vision is it describes your why. While the mission statement describes who and what of your business, the vision is the why. Why do we come to work? Why do we do what we do every single day? Why? It's answering that question. Now, if you think about this, this makes sense because you've probably asked yourself, whether you're an employee or a founder, put yourself in your previous positions, you've probably asked yourself, why am I doing this? You know, and you might have said, this vision isn't really aligned to what I want to do for the rest of my life. So that might have been why you moved companies or why you created your own. You wanted to take that into your own hands. Now, whenever we're talking about mission or whenever we're talking about vision, the key things to think about here is you want to make it aspirational. You want to make it motivational, and you want to make it challenging but achieving. Something that is big picture that will take a long time to achieve, but it's not so outlandish that you would never ever see it. For example, the perfect one that you can think about in this context is whenever John F. Kennedy was the president, and he chose to make a statement that the United States would put a man on the moon in this decade. Now, obviously not this decade, but at the time of his presidency. That was the vision. And what's so inspirational about it is, one, the way that he delivered it and the way that he said it. But other than that, this has never been accomplished before in the world. We never had anybody on the moon at the time that he said that. So that's why I use that example for a clear vision statement, because he is clearly setting the direction for what he wants to achieve and what he wants the company or the world, the United States, to achieve within a certain time frame. Now, for him, I believe it was 10 or 7 years, but from there, they were able to create a mission. They were able to create a strategy on how they would accomplish that. And then they actually broke it down into steps. And that's the series that we're going to go through, is the vision, to get people on board, to get them excited, to help them understand why. Then we're going to go into the mission on the next video to talk about who and what. And then we're going to go into a strategy session on how to create a strategy. And then we'll end it with the importance of having a goal-setting framework like OKRs, or objectives and key results. Now, as we continue talking about the vision, you want to craft a compelling statement by infusing it with passion, making it inspiring, and aligning it with your business's values and goals. So writing a vision statement for your business can be challenging because it must define your company, the values, and the future goals. Many people or many companies will establish focus on their mission statement, but the vision statement is a valuable tool, as I've mentioned time and time again throughout this video, for inspiring your team and foregoing a corporate identity. Now, that's a specific word too. Whenever we talk about why something exists, you're really talking about the identity. So if you wanted to use another term for vision statement or the vision of the company, you could really say, what is our identity? What will be our identity? So after you clearly understand what your vision is, so again, JFK, we want to put a man on the moon in this decade. That's our vision. Now, there's a lot that goes into detail underneath, which I'll go into here in a little bit. But once you identify that, then you have to think about, how do I roll this out to the team? What is the communication plan? Do we have certain aspects to make sure that this is communicated to every single team member? And I mean every single team member, whether you're a company of 50 or a company of 10,000. You want people to understand and be able to easily say, why do we exist? Now, for example, NASA, whenever that was created, to stay on the JFK metaphor or example, NASA was created to put a man on the moon before the end of the decade. It was that simple. Everybody that came to NASA at that time frame, it's changed now, but at that time frame, that's why they were there. And they knew that. And they knew that the hard work was going to be worth it because they were doing something that nobody else has done in their lifetime, right? So think about that as you're creating your vision. Now, to go more specifically into an example, I'm going to use IMEO Company's vision statement. So ours is simple. We want to build a world where organizations operate effectively and treat others appropriately. Now, you might be asking, what does that actually mean? And I'm using this example because I can speak directly to it. And the reason that we chose this specific vision statement with the specific words is because of the reason that IMEO was created and where we want to go to make a better place or a better workplace for everyone. So if we break this down, right, as we were thinking about our vision, the question was, what do we want to be known for and why are we going to exist? Why would someone want to work with us? Why would somebody want to work for us? And then why would somebody trust in us? So as we were thinking about this, I had a bully boss. I can't remember how long ago it was, but I was a top performer. I received Employee of the Month several times. I always hit the top of my bonus. I got promoted, all these things. But then we had a leadership shift where this new director came on and he started changing the culture. Very much a micromanager to every single person. He wouldn't speak to anybody in groups other than like team meetings where it was just simple updates. Everything else had to be behind closed doors where he could kind of degrade you and make you feel less than. So as I experienced that at the time, I started to question myself. And I wanted to make sure that through the work that I do, through the work that any company that I create does, that we are doing something to impact the elimination of people like that in the workplace. And if I keep going, you can tell how passionate I am about this, because that guy honestly gets on my nerves, but it drove me to this vision. Now on the back end, other than the bully boss, I've done in my undergrad, where I majored in psychology with an emphasis on organizational psychology, my thesis paper was on the happy productive worker thesis. And the reason that that's important is because the happy productive worker thesis was all around how to create a more psychological well employee, which taps into their happiness, their life satisfaction, their job satisfaction, their productivity, their engagement. Everything is involved in that theory. And so if I truly think about what I'm trying to accomplish in my lifetime, as a person, as a company, it all boils down to making the workplace better, where nobody feels like they're less than, right? So let's go back to the vision statement. IMEO, improving management, employees, and organizations. We want to build a world where organizations operate effectively and treat others appropriately. Now that is why we chose that statement, because if we're operating effectively, then we're taking into consideration the person, the process, the tools, the customers. Now, if we would have said efficiently, then we could have probably got away with avoiding people or only choosing the best tools that makes the company more efficient. So we're very specific in why we chose what we chose. And then on the back end is treat others appropriately, which goes into play not only the studies from the theory, the happy productive worker theory, as well as all the research that we conducted in that research paper, but also to help other people not feel like I felt whenever I had a bully boss. And so when we think about that, you might be asking, if you're familiar with IMEO or this channel, you might be asking, how does that relate to objectives and key results? This is how we think about it, right? So if we are helping the world have more effective organization, then the way that we do that is taking the vision, the mission, the strategy, and turning those things into a way for companies to execute that. Now, this is where it ties into our vision, because if we take that and we break down the strategy into objectives and key results, now we're reaching what the happy productive worker thesis talks about. We're tapping into how to have better engaged employees. We're talking about increasing productivity, and we're talking about the organization benefiting as well as the employee. So with OKRs, what you're doing is you're taking the company's strategy and you're breaking it down level by level by level, from executive level down to the individual contributor, and you're giving people something specific to work towards. Now they're able to answer the question, why do I do what I do every single day? And what do I have to do every single day? And by having those clear goals, that increases enhancement, or that increases engagement of the employee. Because through the job characteristics model by Hackman and Oldman, whenever you have an employee who has clearly defined goals, they are more likely to be engaged, have higher productivity, have better job satisfaction and life satisfaction. And ultimately, with Wright and Caporazzano, these are some studies that we had in our research paper, is with their work, we found that whenever you have these specific things laid out, you're going to actually see somebody have higher salary, better performance ratings, better relationships with their managers, which on top of that is a key factor. I'll stop there because I got to get back to the vision statement, but all these things are tied in together because the OKR framework attaches to the bigger picture of the company, IMEO. And so that's what you want to do. You want to have a vision that you create that motivates your employees, but also sets the direction for your company for long term. It could be 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. You get to set that path. But by clearly having a direction, then your employees and your leaders can think about, okay, if this is our vision, this is our mission, and then this is our strategy, what do we have to do right now to move the needle forward to get a little bit closer to the vision? That's what you want to think about. Now, I'm just looking at my notes over here, but that's the breakdown of the vision. Now, if you want some resources out there, what we have is The Vision Driven Leader by Michael Hyatt. That's one that I truly recommend because whenever you're talking about the vision, you're not just talking about a statement. You're talking about the details of what the company is trying to achieve, who are the people that need to be on board, and then what does the future look like. So maybe I'll be able to link something in the description that takes you to that vision-driven script that he has in his book, or just simply go on Amazon and purchase that book, because that will give you something that you can take as an owner, a CEO, or a founder and build into your corporation. Now, whenever it comes to communication, you want to be able to have materials that people can share as far as onboarding, as far as keeping it a top of the mind subject in your company. So you want to repeat. And so really that's the way that you communicate it. But then you want to be able to create something that ties into your reward and recognitions program that drives the vision, the behaviors that you need to accomplish your vision. That's where your core values come into play. So for example, if you use a performance management system or a tool out there, they typically have some reward sections, and you can tie that to your values. So anytime that you do any reward or recognition, tie it to the values of your company that will drive the behaviors from every single employee to ultimately get closer to your vision. So I hope that this video was helpful as far as creating a vision statement, why it's important, and why we believe that all organizations should really take the time to build this out and make it a part of their organization to drive employee engagement, to drive productivity, and to have better outcomes as a company. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.